Okay, it's time to start. So my name is Lev, L-E-V. I will send my name to the chat. You can check it. Please send me a message if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can see the slides. I hope you can see them. Today I will cover one of our products, which is called TrueConf MCU. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. Perfect. Thank you, Gabri. I think it will take half an hour to cover that product. We don't have a major release or big update to tell you about today, but I believe this product deserves more attention, and it has a lot of unique features most of our customers are not aware of, and I'd like to highlight them. So let's start. And first of all, I will actually share my screen to show you what I'm going to tell you about. So this is the product I'm talking about is called TrueConf MCU. It is available from our website. It can be downloaded free of charge. It has a free version up to 100 connection. And that product was designed to provide multi-point conferencing capabilities for legacy equipment. By legacy equipment, I mean SIP and H323 based video conferencing endpoints produced by many different vendors. It could be Cisco, Polycom, or Poly. It could be Tandberg, it could be Picturetel, it could be Avaya, it could be Sony, it could be Yearlink, it could be many other manufacturers who had or still have the SIP-based equipment in their portfolio. And to provide conferencing capabilities for such endpoints, we need a special product. We need a MCU, which will combine and produce a layout with multiple videos in the single video stream, which is sent to those endpoints, because those legacy endpoints are not able to mix multiple video streams, and they need an MCU, a product, a special media server to combine those images together. And for that, we have a special product. And it is available mostly for Linux platforms. And you can not just check it out and download it. You can actually use it in your production environment. It has a lot of features. And for some of them, we have prepared the demonstration. So let me show you what it is. So, for example, here we have the webinar, and we have a control panel for TrueConf MCU product right now, and we're going to cover some features from that product today. So I will stop to share my screen. Just a moment. And we'll continue with my slides. MCU should be installed inside the network of the customer where SIP and H323 endpoints are located. SIP and H323 protocols are not really very well secure, so we recommend to use those protocols inside your private network. It is a bad idea to expose SIP equipment and make public or white the IP addresses under which those equipment is available. It is also possible to connect together and cascade that product with the existing infrastructure, SIP infrastructure you might have. It could be Cisco meeting server or Cisco telepresence server. It could be Polycom RMX or Polycom Clarity or Yearlink meeting server if you have them. And with our product, you can significantly improve the capacity of the SIP equipment you are using in terms of the number of endpoints which can be combined into a single conference, in terms of the number of conferences running together. And the major difference between TrueConf MCU and other solutions we have is that that product is designed to be used with legacy equipment, room equipment, specifically SIP and H323 endpoints. It is not intended to be used for desktop applications or mobile applications or web browsers. It is a special tool for those customers who has a lot of SIP infrastructure, a lot of SIP endpoints. And we provide them a very nice tool to create large meetings and to efficiently manage and control those large meetings. Even if we have multiple meetings simultaneously, we provide UI, which is really well designed to moderate simultaneously multiple conferences together. And you can move people around, move endpoints and room equipment from one conference to another. There are a lot of features. So just give it a try. It is very easy to install. It doesn't require a VMware or whatever. It's just an installer. So basically, you need to enter inside your Linux machine sudo apt install TrueConf #MCU. That's it, and the product will be installed. It's very easy to maintain and very easy to install. It has some unique features. For example, because we mix video streams on the MCU, not on the endpoint side, we could have a lot of people on screen. For example, the current limitation for TrueConf server is 49 participants on screen. But with TrueConf MCU, that limit is much, much higher. We could have up to I have a slide about it actually. We could have up to 250 people in the layout. So for example, if you have a large 4K video wall, because if you don't have a large video wall, preferably more than 100 inches, it is useless to have so many people on screen. 49 is more than enough. But if you have a very nice room with a large video wall, LED video wall or LCD video wall, you can fill it with a lot of participants on screen. Very few actually customers require that, but the idea is that MCU could have 100 people on screen easily, while for TrueConf server it is not possible. The limit is 49 because TrueConf server render and display videos in the layout on the client side, while MCU mix everything and transcode everything, every participant on the server side, and sends out encoded video stream to the endpoint, which is a single stream. So instead of decoding 48 incoming streams from TrueConf server, the MCU endpoint needs to decode only one incoming video stream. So we basically leverage and move the computational load from the endpoint to the server. That's the idea behind MCU. This is how traditional, classic, legacy conferencing devices work, and for that we have a special tool. So that's a very, very unique feature. We also have a very comprehensive and powerful tool for layout management. So we have hundreds of different layouts, and for every layout you have a lot of capabilities. For example, we can specifically select special rules how layout appear. It could be voice activity detection, it could be content, it could be rotation, it could be fixed participant inside the layout. We can even create special layout for special occasions. For example, it could be a special layout when we have 10 participants. If we have 12, we could select another layout. It is also possible to configure layouts for recording. For example, when you have the content inside the conference and the recording is enabled, we need to switch to specific layout to make content visible in the recording, because in the legacy conferencing world, content is always delivered as a separate stream, which should be secretly recorded. It is also supported. So the tool is extremely, extremely powerful, and the number of layouts there is almost unlimited. We have two types of layouts which are combined together, like Lego bricks, and overlay layouts which are displayed one above another. It's a different set of layouts. So for example, you could have your own branding underneath, or some big nice picture from the conference room, whatever, and you can display active speakers in the corner, or it could be 2 rows of speakers from both sides of the video. It depends. So many different types of layouts are supported. Just give it a try, have a look inside the documentation of that product, inside the control panel, to get the idea how many different scenarios are supported. If we start to speak about the recent features we introduced to that product, I'd like to put attention to some of them. Let's start with the automatic focus for speakers. That means that if you have more people in the conference than are visible in the layout, we could enable automatic rotation of them. Even if they are muted, even if they don't want to present, you can enable that to make sure that every person in the conference could be seen by others, not simultaneously with others, but time to time they will be visible because of that rotation feature, even if you didn't have a special layout selected for them, let's say with the active speaker detection or rotation available, we can do it automatically for specific layout. It's also very easy to move people around the conference. For example, you can start a conference, open on the right side of the control panel the address book. Address book could be populated from the Active Directory, or you can manually add your room equipment from different locations, buildings, whatever you have in your infrastructure, and you can drag and drop people from the address book in real time to the current conference or to some other conferences. If you move the card for a particular endpoint, not to the center of the screen, but to the left part of the screen. So it is extremely useful. So you can immediately, almost immediately, invite someone to the call. You don't need to search through a large list of endpoints or enter the IP address. You can just move and drag and drop people around. And we have a very nice feature. For example, you can populate the conference with the desired participants without the need to call them into the conference. So it could be hot swap participants who are available with the single click. If you put them in the list of waiting participants which are not inside the call at the moment. For that, you need to drag and drop a person from the address book to the right side of the screen. If you drag and drop the person from the or endpoint from the address book to the left side of the screen, it will be added to the conference. It will receive the call. So you have the full control on about what's going on. It's also possible to move a group of endpoints between conferences. For example, you could have the waiting room, some kind of a lobby where you can check your hairstyle or the audio equipment. And if everything is good, you drag and drop a person or endpoint from the lobby to the production conference, which is being broadcasted or which is accessed by the executives of the company, whatever. So this is extremely useful, and you don't need to create a template for that. So you can basically control the process simply by moving your mouse, which totally eliminates the possibility of mistake. We also improved how recordings for the conferences happening on MCU being controlled. So now you can select how content should be displayed during the recording. For example, we can select the option do not record, and only participants, only video stream from MCU will be recorded. Or we can enable full screen. That means when we have the content stream presented inside the conference, it will be only visible in the recording. Once the content stream is absent and disabled, then in the recording participants will be visible again. Or we can overlay videos and display content next to the video participants during the time when content is present inside the conference. So making sure that participants are also visible. Actually, not participants, but the selected layout on the endpoint. This is how traditional conferencing devices work. They either display video or they display content. If you have an endpoint with two screens, let's say some large and probably very expensive multi-screen Cisco unit, so you could have two screens for that. But for recording, we have only one screen, only one video file. So for that, we have this new setting where you can select the layout you wish for the recording, if it has content or if it doesn't have the content. This is a very new feature. And the next new feature is the duplicating conferences. Sometimes we need to create a copy of the conference for testing purposes or for training. And we can easily copy all the settings, all the list of invited participants to that conference and play with it. When we copy the conference, the templates and layouts are also copied. So this is quite useful if you have a lot of layouts manually created for some participants inside your conference. So you don't need to recreate them. You can just copy the existing conference, duplicate it. So this is also a new feature. We are covering today features which are available, I think, from this year. So some recent 1 or 2 releases of that product, which we didn't showcase before. The next feature is the ability to display messages from TrueConf ecosystem. For example, if you have a conference on TrueConf MCU where you have TrueConf client applications or some other TrueConf products inside that conference. And because in a legacy world inside C protocol, there is no support for messaging, no support for chat. So in all traditional conferencing world, there is no chat. You only can mute or send DTMF commands, some digital commands from your remote controller. But now we have chat, we love to collaborate, and we have a lot of things going on, like express your opinions, emojis, ideas, reactions, whatever. So we can display that over the layout. So the MCU will automatically mix above the video or content the special frame with the last messages available, making sure that people inside the conference room are also included in the conversation and they can understand what's going on. Maybe they can answer the question someone asked them when they are connected from the browser, for example, during some webinar session. This is quite useful. The same feature can also be used to provide the feedback channel with the operator, because MCU conferences are always accompanied and supported by the real person, the operator, and we can use this mechanics to send to specific conference or specific endpoint the message, okay, John, it's time to leave the room, we have another meeting. Or, John, be prepared, we start in a few minutes, for example. So any kind of feedback interaction can be done using this tool because operator is not able to hear what's going on inside the conference. He can only see what's going on inside the conference. So we can use that to send information to the participants of the conference. We also improved the conditions under which the resources available in MCU should be freed and reused. It usually happens, it is useful when you have conferences which should end under specific conditions. For example, if the conference has started, but nobody joined it. So we don't need to spend resources for that. We don't need to record that. So we should stop it. Or when we have a conference where all participants left it, so that virtual room should end automatically again to save resources. For example, if nobody present there, or if we have only one participant left in the conference. For example, a conference could be cascaded from one server to another server, ED server, and inside that cascade there is no real participants, only cascaded virtual rooms. So we can also, for that case, automatically end the conference and again make the resources of the MCU available for other conferences. So this is quite an improvement. So you can disable it, but all the settings you see on the slide are enabled by default. We also display inside the list of participants or waiting list of the conference the reasons why a specific endpoint or user has been disconnected or didn't answer the invitation or declined your invitation. So now you have the idea to troubleshoot why a specific endpoint is not present or is not picking up your call, or why it was disconnected. Some technical information will be available. Whether it was intended action, whether it was a kind of network timeout, so we had some connectivity issues, or maybe it was disconnected by moderator, by operator of the conference. So now you have that information. You don't need to go to the report sections. You don't need to open log files. You can see it where you need it, where you control the conference inside your dashboard of the ongoing conference, which is really important because, once again, this dashboard is the alpha and omega of the MCU. This is where operator manage the conference for large number of different SIP-based endpoints and H323-based endpoints across the entire region or country. We have customers who have hundreds of SIP-based endpoints across the vast areas, and it is not possible to troubleshoot some remote locations because of the different time zones or connectivity challenges. I'm not able sometimes to just call an IT guy in the remote region to check out what's wrong with the specific endpoint. But now you can see what's wrong from that interface. That's really important. The system automatically recreates conference if something goes wrong with the server itself, maybe a power shortage, maybe some disconnection conditions. It will automatically detect that the conference was ended unintentionally, and it will be recreated automatically, and all endpoints will receive the callback to inviting them to join the same meeting. It happens automatically. We also provide some additional features when you use our TrueConf MCU server with different TrueConf products. For example, if you are using our own SIP endpoint, which is called TrueConf Group, we provide provisioning for multiple TrueConf Group endpoints from MCU interface. Or if you are connected using between our products, we provide error correction. Let's cover this in more details. Inside TrueConf MCU, we have a special section where you can see the list and statuses of all TrueConf Group devices present in your network. And it populates automatically, or either from your address book, because TrueConf Group endpoint sends away inside your network the information that he is available from that address, and we can actually use that to show you the available devices, and you can manage those devices. You can remotely change the firmware. You can remotely apply the settings and upload some configuration file. So it makes much easier to see is everything is okay. Is the endpoint is connected? Does it has the green light, green status, or it is disconnected and has some power or connectivity issues? And so you can immediately send a call to the IT guy on that remote location to check the connection for that endpoint. And if the status is green, you can remotely manage it, check configuration, change it, or upload the firmware, which is very useful if you have many endpoints in many different locations. Another feature is about the different types of connections we have between our products. For example, if you cascade MCU conference to another MCU conference, or if you have a conference between TrueConf Server and TrueConf MCU, and I'd like to remind you that MCU is used for endpoints and TrueConf Server is used for desktops, client applications, and mobile client applications. So it is a common scenario to have a single conference distributed between those two. And especially if you have the connection between our SIP endpoint TrueConf Group and TrueConf MCU, for these cases, we have our own implementation of forward error correction approach, which is proprietary, and it is capable, it is possible to compensate up to 10% of network losses, which is really high. If your network produces more than 10% of package losses, it is impossible to have any type of conversation there. But up to 10, we can handle. For that, we send some additional information inside SIP or only for SIP. Inside SIP packages, SIP data, we send some additional frames to make possible to recover the video and audio if we lost some information. Because in this legacy world, in SIP connections, the transport is UDP. In UDP, data channels are not guaranteed. That means some data packets could lost forever because of many, many different reasons, because of the network equipment is overloaded or configured, not properly configured, or there are some loops inside the network. There are many reasons for that, and we can handle it by automatically recover the data when we connect between our products. Unfortunately, all FEC algorithms between different vendors are not compatible. So our FEC approach is not compatible with Poly or Cisco or Yearling. Every vendor has its own implementation for that. So we recommend to use our endpoints along with our MCU. The next important feature of the product, which we recommend to use, is called cascading. Cascading is basically a video call when you call not a specific endpoint or user, but you call another virtual room, another conference. So we display inside one conference another conference, and that makes possible to significantly improve and extend the capacity of the conference. So we can mix videos from two MCUs or our software server, TrueConf server, and MCU together, making the size of the conference much larger. And we have special tools to make that comfortable, to combine the best of both worlds, SVC conferencing represented by TrueConf server and traditional mixing transcoding conferencing represented by TrueConf MCU together. So we can combine together SIP endpoints and desktops or mobile users. It could be hundreds of desktop or mobile users or web browser users speaking with and collaborating with the executives connected from your room equipment from different SIP locations. That's how, for what cascading could be really useful. And to make this possible, you basically need to select a single checkbox, which is called cascading, for specific endpoint, or when you plan a conference, when you do a scheduling for the conference, you can specifically select that that conference could be cascaded. And for that, we will automatically prohibit the MCU to send back your self video back to the conference. Otherwise, if we send your self view back to the conference, the tunnel, it's like an endless video tunnel, like echo, but for video, will be displayed inside the layout, which is something we try to avoid. And for that, we have to select specifically that that conference should be cascaded, not to send back the video we receive. We send it back to the video we receive, the device it is sent from. So it could create a loop where you have videos going like in mirrors, located one to another. That's something we don't need. So some typical scenario could be, for example, if we cascade TrueConf server conference inside MCU, or vice versa when we cascade TrueConf MCU conference inside TrueConf server. So you can see on the screen how it could be displayed. On the screen, on the right bottom corner, you see the participants who are mixed on TrueConf MCU side. They are displayed inside TrueConf server conference layout. So this way we connect to the large conference held on TrueConf server with desktops. We display endpoints and room solutions which are connected to MCU. And for that, we don't need to have a lot of CPU resources. We don't need to have a lot of logical cores or virtual cores on your MCU machine, which is essential and required for MCU connections, because we cascade that conference. So the limited number of MCU endpoints are connected to the unlimited number of software endpoints from TrueConf server. So we combine two systems together, making the size of the conference almost unlimited. I would like to remind you that for TrueConf server, the current limitation is 1,500 participants. That's a lot. And I think we have a demo, so let's have a look how it could look like. For example, if we have a conference where we need to see up to 4 people on screen, and we need to see actually who is speaking. And the conference could be for a large number of users, but we need to see only those who is speaking, who is active. And for that, we create a specific layout on TrueConf MCU site. You can see it on the right side of this slide. on the top left side, top left corner of the layout, the specific user is selected. It is actually not a user, it is actually a virtual room, a conference from TrueConf server, which displayed active participant. So that makes possible that on the left top corner, we will always see the desktop or mobile user from TrueConf server side who is speaking. And other slots in the layout are reserved or display the active speakers from MCU side. So I will stop my content to share my screen to show you how it looks like. So I will start the conference. Conference has started. So let's have some information available. Yeah, we see that video streams are here. The connection is good. So I can preview the layout. So if someone from TrueConf server side will start to speak, we will see him inside that left top corner, inside the layout. Let me check some other users to make it visible, because to avoid the tunnels, to avoid the loops, we don't send back to that user self video. So now you can see how that conference is displayed for some SIP endpoint. And in the left corner, we see TrueConf server user, which is connected from desktop application, and other slots are filled up with some other users. And let me show you the layout settings for that. So we have a layout for 4 participants selected, and the left top corner is fixed for specific video conference on TrueConf server side. And other slots are automatically filled, but we, for example, can select the active speaker mode for them. So it will be displayed automatically there. So on TrueConf server side, let me copy the conference ID and find that conference. That's not a user. It's not Ivan. It is actually a conference on TrueConf server side. So I will find this conference on TrueConf server side. Just a moment. I need to remove the leading 00. Double 2 zeros, they designate the conference ID. So this way we can tell what ID is a user ID and what ID is a conference ID. So this is the conference which is invited on TrueConf MCU site. And I will open real-time management for that conference on TrueConf server side. And you can see that for that conference, we have also a specific layout selected, which displays in a single video slot the active speaker. So we have in TrueConf server conference a lot of desktop and mobile users. And let's actually check what we have. So we have a conference for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 participants, and the 7th is the MCU. And inside the conference layout, one of those 7s who is speaking will be displayed here, and other slots will be displayed from MCU side, which is also possible to connect a lot of people. So it looks nice because it looks like the same videos, the same quality for every participant inside the conference for a room solution. But actually it consists of 2 different conferences located on 2 different servers. And we can hear everybody. And if someone will start to speak, it will replace another participant in the layout. So for Cisco and Poly and Yearlings and some other SIP equipment, it will look like every other participant. So it will look equal to other SIP participants in the conference. But actually, it would be software to server participants connected to another conference. So that's the concept of the cascading. And we need to set up this only once. We need to select the layout once we prepare the conference on MCU and TrueConf server side when we select layouts, and that's it. After that, once we properly select everything, we need just to click here to start the conference, and it will be started. And automatically all participants will be called, and we would be able to see them in the layout. So that's how cascading is done. Actually, there are more possibilities to that, because we can create a layout for larger number of participants on screen. So it could be not a single participant from TrueConf server side. You can actually create a smart meeting on TrueConf server side and select the layout for 4 people on screen for smart meeting, which will display 4 active users from TrueConf server side. And you can put that window to another layout on TrueConf MCU side, which will have a lot of endpoints connected to it. And because of this inclusion of another conference inside MCU layout, they will look the same size, but the layout will be filled up automatically depending on the number of participants and who is active speakers, because the server can automatically create layout for the content and for speakers. So it will look natural on the MCU side, but it will actually be a picture-in-picture, another conference displayed inside another conference. And there are many different options are available depending on which layout you have selected. For example, for 17 participants, it could look like on the left side of that slide. For 11, for example, it could be represented like on the right side of that slide. So it's up to you how to cascade. And the same can be done in a different direction. We can actually cascade MCU conference with limited number of SIP endpoints inside larger TrueConf server conference, because we have layout editors on the both sides. And we can disable self-view video to avoid the loops from TrueConf server side as well. For that, we have a special setting on TrueConf server side. So that opens unlimited possibilities on how to create very large conferences for traditional equipment. So you are no longer limited for Cisco meeting server capacity. You could have conferences with hundreds of participants from your conference room with the help of our software. Gamli, we just updated TrueConf server layout manager with voice activity detection, rotation, and some other rules for specific layouts, which were only available for TrueConf MCU before. So now they are almost equal in the layout editing capabilities. And in the next version of TrueConf server and TrueConf MCU, we will provide presets. Preset will act, for example, you could have custom layout for each number of participants in the conference. So you can in advance select layout for 10 participants, for 12, or for 15, it's up to you. Because MCU conferences are usually assisted with the operator, and they are usually very important. It could be a governor or president or the CEO of your company or some minister. And you spend some time checking everything in advance, testing it, so you can create very nice looking layouts and branding, whatever. And we just make possible to make the conference larger. So we pay attention to that, and new features are coming with every release to the layout management. We'd like to remind you that legacy systems, they have a special video stream for the content. It's called content stream. So when you share some content from TrueConf client applications, mobile or desktop, make sure that you send the content as a separate video stream. For that, we have a special setting, which you can see on the left side of that slide. When we share the documents or presentations, PDF files, PowerPoint files, or some OpenOffice files, we can deliver them as a separate content stream through TrueConf server gateway to TrueConf MCU, and from TrueConf MCU to some Cisco or Poly whatever endpoints, which could be displayed on a separate screen or mixed with the video stream on the main screen. It's up to endpoint. This is actually the only thing the endpoint can control is how video and content stream is being displayed on the main screen of the endpoint. And you can also mute conference, and that's it. Everything else is done by operator. So for content sharing, please send the content in a separate stream from TrueConf site to make it visible in the full details on the legacy endpoint side. And the last case about cascading, we could have webinars. For example, you have a fancy conferencing room with very expensive endpoint with multiple cameras, multiple screens, face tracking, ceiling microphone array, whatever. You spend $1 million for that, millions. Depends on your currency. And you'd like to use it to present your webinars, so it can be done. For that, we just need to cascade the MCU conference inside TrueConf server conference, where we have the role-based conference selected. Role-based conference is a special type of conference for webinars, where you have different roles for speakers and listeners, different privileges, different rights for each group of users. And the size of this conference is huge. It's up to 1,500 participants, so we can easily use, using this cascading technique, we can use our fancy room as a presenter, as a speaker in a large-scale webinar hosted on TrueConf server. That's the idea. And because MCU mix things, so we can change it. We can switch one conference room location connected to TrueConf MCU over SIP or H33 protocol to another room location. And we can do that with a single click by simply moving the crown. And this is a special privilege inside TrueConf MCU participant list, which makes the participant larger in the layout across different users. So that joins together two different servers, making new scenarios for existing equipment possible. We also added support for TrueConf applications to ease the connection to existing TrueConf MCU conferences using TrueConf applications. Our customers, they usually have a lot of TrueConf applications on their mobile phones or desktops at home or at office. So for every TrueConf MCU conference, we could have a link. And inside that link, there will be a special app link, which will automatically open TrueConf desktop or mobile application. It doesn't matter to which server that application is connected. We don't have a cloud, so our applications are always connected to some corporate server. So it doesn't matter to which one. If that server has SIP license, if it has SIP connectivity available, it will automatically connect to that conference on TrueConf MCU site if the network connection between TrueConf server where the user is authenticated on and that MCU is available, making it is much easier to join important MCU meetings from TrueConf applications. For internal usage, for the customers who has TrueConf server and TrueConf MCU inside the same network, it will work automatically. But for external connections, some network settings should be performed to make this possible. So that is the last slide, and we have covered the most important features and the recent updates of TrueConf MCU product. I'd like to share you the link to that product to the chat. I'm asking you to give it a try. It is free up to 100 connections. Free version also requires internet connection, and free version displays the special title above the video layout that you are using the free version, and that's it. It doesn't have any other limitations. So we are always open for your feedback and recommendations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them here, or we also have the WhatsApp community where our engineers answer questions from our customers and partners. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so thank you for that. I will wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we will come back to you with the new updates and releases immediately after the new year. We would have the new webinar in January about how to use our SDKs to build customized mobile applications with the support of Full HD mobile conferences, and that should be really interesting, and more updates are coming very soon. We continue the improvement and the development of our products day and night, and we work for you every day. So Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, and see you next year then. Thank you for your time.